Joined now by Governor Newsom. We're in the Emergency Operations Center as these protests continue to rage as Donald Trump has federalized the National Guard. First and foremost, did the National Guard need to come into California?
Of course not. He flamed the fires. This is exactly what he wanted. This is what he intended by illegally acting to federalize the National Guard. We're going to be initiating a lawsuit first thing tomorrow morning, and it did exactly what we told his team it would do. It would inflame the anxiety, it would inflame the conditions, and the most important thing he can do if he wants this thing behind us is to rescind his order and to get back into some semblance of orderly life here that he created.
Well, you had mentioned if he wants to reduce tensions that he will rescind this order, but isn't that the issue at hand here, that he doesn't want?
No, he wants, he's literally created these conditions. He wants to exacerbate the problems. He completely colored them in. He overstated everything. He knowingly went in a reckless way, did something that's almost without precedent in our lifetime, unconstitutional, illegal, immoral, because he knew full well what would persist on the ground. His team knows that as well. And that's exactly what this is all about. This is Trump's mess. He created it. He knew full well what would happen if he did this. He offered no support, no counsel, no advice, no other consideration. He just acted in an immature manner in order to create the kind of problems that people are now witnessing on the streets.
To what extent do you think it was a coincidence that in the aftermath of a week that was just rife with bad news for Trump as it relates to his relationship with Elon, his falling out with Elon, the budget bill obviously being on thin ice, that suddenly he finds a blue state that is just an easy punching bag for him? It's the state of California, and now we have federal troops
100%.
here.
It's all about news cycles. 24/7, it's about weekly news, whatever he can to distract, to continue. I mean, disastrous economic policies, calamitous economic policies potentially. I mean, even his biggest sycophant in the country, Elon Musk, said likelihood of a recession in the second half of the year. Massive debt and deficits. The absurdity of his claim that the economy is doing well. He's wrecking the economy. He's destroyed allies around the world. These great 90 deals in 90 days. Nothing. Nothing about this president and this presidency is working. The Ukraine war, it's getting worse, not better. I mean, it's the theater of the absurd. And so, of course, he comes in. But this is different because this puts American lives at risk, puts the lives of American citizens at risk, and puts the lives of law enforcement at risk. And he's knowingly flaming these fires. He's lit the match, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's created this spectacle, and he's got to clean it up. And if he can't clean it up, we'll clean it up. And that's why we're down here at the EOC. We have 175 CHP officers out there that know exactly what they're doing, that are organized and mission tasked to support in a mutual aid local law enforcement. You've got these young kids that don't know necessarily what they're doing because they haven't been appropriately mission tasked as it relates to the federalization of their deployment. There's only a few hundred of them because they can't even figure out what to do with the other 1,700 because this is so disorganized.
Right.
So it's a serious, serious moment. It is a constitutional moment in this country. We have an immoral president acting illegally and unconstitutionally, and I hope people wake up to what the hell is going on right now.
And so logistically speaking, when you've got the California National Guard and when you've got the federal National Guard both coming into Los Angeles, who takes priority? What happens to these folks who are actually on the ground?
Well, we've had a remarkable relationship with our National Guard. Over 3,000 or so went through a rotation to protect folks here post the fire. And they were well received,
right,
and embraced. They were mission tasked. They went through an appropriate process working with local law enforcement, the cities and the counties and the community leaders, and they were engaged and effective. As it relates to the deployment right now, there's no state National Guard that have been requested by local law enforcement because they had adequate resources. And Donald Trump knew that. His chief of staff knew that. They didn't care about that. And so they wanted to create conditions that would get worse because of their ignorance and recklessness in order to incite the kind of reaction that we're seeing on the streets, so that they can further incite by now apparently talking about bringing in the Marines into a United States city in 2025.
And by the way, he attempted, we found out from his previous Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, that he had attempted to get the military deployed in an American city previously, and Mark Esper wouldn't go along with this plan. And so now, do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Pete Hegseth's a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it. So in over his head. What an embarrassment. And that's just guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. I mean, serious moment. I mean, this Human guy, these guys, it's just, it's the band of Misfits.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. This is serious. People's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about L.A. per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you. I mean, this guy's unhinged. Donald Trump is unhinged right now. And this is just another proof point of that.
In your last conversation with Donald Trump, which I believe was in the last 24 hours, how did that conversation go? What did you say to him? What did he say to you?
He never brought up the National Guard. Stone cold liar. Said he did. Stone cold liar. Never did. Didn't even really want to talk about L.A. Out of respect to the presidency, that 20-minute conversation, I won't even get into things he actually wanted to talk about. But it wasn't about any of these things. Now he's making it all up. This is past practice, is what he does. So it's a remarkable thing to experience in real time. And in real time, people's lives are at risk because of his recklessness.
The last time a president federalized the National Guard in opposition to a state's governor was in 1963 when JFK did it in opposition to George Wallace in an attempt to integrate the University of Alabama. So that was a moment where the president stepped up to protect civil rights and expand civil rights. Now Donald Trump is doing the exact opposite. And so you're in a situation where you are in direct conflict to history here, because Donald Trump is now doing it to try and contract rights among citizens in the state. And so what's your reaction to the fact that this is the polar opposite of something that JFK did, that went down in the history books as a moment where he used his power for good to expand civil rights, and now Donald Trump is doing it in opposition to you to contract them?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, it's immoral. We've deployed the National Guard on multiple occasions in the past. We have National Guard down at the border, mission tasked appropriately to address the issue of fentanyl interdiction, drug interdiction, working in partnership with Border Patrol. Have been for years and years and years. Thousands were deployed here after the fires and during the midst of the fires to help support public safety. We used thousands of our National Guard to address the issue of public safety during the George Floyd riots. The issue of the National Guard being deployed appropriately is under the jurisdiction of governors, not the President of the United States. And to your point, that he's using this to create division, he's using this to divide this nation, he's using this in a way knowingly that puts people's lives at risk so he can escalate the rhetoric, escalate his effort to continue to degrade these constitutional protections, those fundamental protections that we have frankly taken advantage, granted of for decades and decades, is extraordinary, and is a deep point of contrast certainly to a real president, John F. Kennedy.
This all obviously comes under the backdrop of these ICE raids happening, in a few major cities across the country, but now they're focused on Los Angeles. And so there are a lot of undocumented immigrants who've been in our community for years and years, decades. And so obviously seeing everything play out as it is right now, what's your message to that community who sees what's happening and, who have set up their entire lives here, who have built their families here, who are members in good standing of their communities here,
paying
and who are
their
now
taxes.
Paying their taxes.
27% of this state is foreign born. You've got mixed status families with good people who've been working decade plus, hard workers that are not criminals. You want to go after the criminals? That's fine. I coordinate and collaborate with the federal government as it relates to criminals. We've worked together at CDCR, which is our state prison system, and we've collaborated for the last 7 years, 6+ years. I've collaborated as it relates to deportation of violent criminals. That's not what this is about. And so it sends a chill. I mean, these poor kids, elementary schools, fourth grade, just the other day, young child. The hell is that young child? How is a person's dangerous? The only person dangerous right now is an unhinged president of the United States that's inciting violence, who's inciting the conditions that he claims he's going to come in and fix. And so I hope he fixes this immediately by rescinding that illegal order immediately, and we'll clean up his mess.
Obviously, as these protests continue to grow larger and larger, what's your message to protesters who've taken the streets out in
Well, just
LA?
do it peacefully. Period. Full stop. I can't stand those idiots that are breaking cars or smashing windows. The hell is that? Any more than I can't stand the directive of the president.
Yeah.
Just, it's time to be peaceful. It's time to show up. I think that's extraordinary. It's incredibly important to show up. Just do it peacefully and call out those that are not being peaceful. And with respect, I know these National Guard men and women. I've been working with them. These are good kids. They're good kids. They're members of your community.
Yeah.
I mean, have their back as well. They're being mission tasked by the president, but that doesn't make it right to attack them either.
Donald Trump sent down this illegal, unconstitutional directive to federalize the National Guard. When does this come to a head? Is this are you hoping for an injunction in the courts?
We're going to immediately seek that first thing tomorrow morning. Absolutely. Look, that's all we got left. There's one, maybe two branches of government left. Sure as hell ain't the legislature.
Right.
I mean, Speaker Johnson, what a joke he is. Completely missing in action. He's got to clean up his own mess. He's got one of the most dangerous districts in America. 6 times, I think, the murder rate of Nancy Pelosi's district. Why the hell ain't talking about that on Fox News? Where's Donald Trump talking about the carnage in Speaker Johnson's district? But the real carnage is complete neglect. I mean, this is a guy who's complicit in increasing the national debt. Talk about our kids and grandkids. Another $2.5 trillion. So we're holding hope, out hope. Founding fathers, 3 co-equal branches of government. Popular sovereignty, rule of law. And the courts need to intervene. And we've won more than we've lost. And California sued more than any other state in the country. And here we go, one more.
Do you have a concern that he will ramp up his threats from just federalizing the National Guard to invoking the Insurrection Act?
Yes.
if this isn't dealt with?
Of course. I mean, this is. I mean, what more evidence do we need of the authoritarian tendencies? It's not even tendencies now. Actions of this president. This is complete lawlessness. Threatening impeachment of judges that disagree with him. Going after knowledge broadly. The cultural purge. Institutions of higher learning. It's the conveyor belt for talent. It's the reason this country is so is successful as it is. He's coming after books and knowledge. He's rewriting history, censoring historical facts. I mean, heck, it's so weak. He can't even allow the kids at West Point to read books from, Toni Morrison.
Yeah.
He's I mean, it's a serious, serious moment in America, and we've got to assert ourselves, and we are asserting ourselves, and we're just not going to stand for this.
You mentioned before that you'd spoken with Donald Trump on the phone. What he said you guys spoke about is obviously different from what you actually spoke about, and so he has every intention of
Stone cold liar.
He has every intention of not acting in good faith as it relates to speaking with you in private versus speaking with you in public. And so if he's going to litigate this thing in the press, what is your message to him in light of what he's doing right now?
Tell the truth. Own up to the truth. But what the hell is that? Advice to Donald Trump to talk honestly and truthfully? He's a stone cold liar. I respect the presidency. I've tried to have an open hand with him. Tried to work with him. You can't work with Donald Trump. You can only work for him. And I will not. I refuse to work for Donald Trump.
We'll leave it there. Governor Newsom, appreciate your time.
Thanks, man.